Welcome to Unstoppable Real Estate Investing Wealth. My name is Billy Alvaro, aka the Unstoppable BA, former billion-dollar mortgage banker, gone bankrupt, turned professional real estate investor. Where each week you'll learn the tools, strategies, systems, and secrets myself and other highly successful real estate investing entrepreneurs use to start, grow, and scale their businesses, creating massive profits, and how you can too. And we'll teach you how to put those profits to work so you no longer have to. Get ready to finally experience financial freedom and generational wealth. Now let's get started. What is going on, everybody? This is Billy Alvaro, the Unstoppable BA, and this is Unstoppable Real Estate Investing Wealth. And you know what this podcast is about. It's all about adding value, giving our listeners the tools, tips, tricks, strategies, and secrets for myself and my guests that got us to where we are and where we want to go. And as you know, this whole podcast is about starting, growing, and scaling. We have different segments that we bring in. We have a lot of big players on the scaling side. We have guys that are starting the growth side. We also have those that are in the trenches and really on the start side where they're doing the day-to-day and making shit happen. And one of those guests that we have is Viktor Jiracek from Gainesville, Florida. He's on with me today. Viktor, welcome to the show, my man.
Well, thanks so much. Appreciate you having me.
Appreciate you coming on. So, Viktor, how old are you first off?
I'm 26.
And how many years have you been in this business? You're kind of new.
I'm newer, I'll give you that much. So I bought my first property when I was 18, but actually made the full-time switch to real estate about 2 years ago.
2 years ago. So let's get into your backstory.
Please.
Because you and I spoke offline a little bit, and you would tell me that you had some failures that led you to this whole real estate investing business.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. So what happened was, so first off, I was going to college. I was going to college for biomedical engineering. I realized about halfway through, 2 years into a 4-year program, like this isn't for me. I saw what everyone was doing. I saw my coursework. I'm like, I hate this. I don't want to do this. So at the time I had a full ride to the college, University of Utah, dropped out and started to do my own business. So I thought it was a good idea, and I was recommended, hey, instead of starting your own business, what if you just buy a business? You know, it's already established, up and running. You just, buy it, scale it. Saves you a lot of that headache as you're trying to, scale up and get started. So I did that. So I bought a wood flooring business and made every mistake in the book, and it tanked. It failed pretty quickly within a year.
You learn quick on what not to do.
Exactly. So that was a good experience of what not to do and, why not to get into a business. And I had mentors back then, but I didn't listen to them, which was a mistake. And it was just one of those things where, you learn, and I was young. I was, 20, younger. I was 20, 21, 22, something like that. So just want to do it on my own, blaze my own path.
Yeah. How did you get the financing, the funding, the down payment for the business?
So part of it was just saving, and it was a smaller business. That's what I purchased. So part of it was saving. Part of it was seller notes, just somewhat seller finance out of pocket. And that's how
So a little creative shit you were doing even with the businesses, seller financing, creative. I love it, man.
Exactly.
I love it. What did your mom, because I got to tell you, the last show I had on, 2 young guys, Austin and Jake from upstate New York, they're about your age, 26 years old, and they too quit college. And so is your mom and dad both still alive?
So mom is, dad passed away when I was young. Yeah.
So, okay. So your mom, what did your mom think when you quit college? Full ride? Like you're going to college, like my kid's going to engineer the whole 9 yards. I'm quitting college, mom, I'm becoming an entrepreneur. Like what was her feedback with that?
It was interesting. So she's since changed her opinion on it. Back then she was against it any way, shape, or form. She said, you have a full ride, just finish it, just finish the school, just finish the school, just do it, just do the college. She was in that, older mindset. And I tried to break away from that. I did break away from that. Now she's changed her tune because it's been a lot of success. And there's, the flipping's going really well, but
of course, you can start making money.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right. So quit college, opened up a business, bought a business failed. You didn't listen to your mentors. What happened then?
So then I went into another business venture. This one was basically a bigger failure than the first one. The idea is what's called a roll-up. So you buy smaller businesses, you put them all together into this mega corporation, this conglomerate, and you sell the conglomerate. So it's a roll-up strategy, very popular in the 80s. So I try to do that with healthcare businesses. So I try to buy home healthcare businesses. I spent 2 or 3 years focusing on that. I got pretty close. So I got together a board, some high-level people, big names in healthcare. I got some got Big Four accounting, Big Four legal. Then I started looking at deals, starting to get financed. Luckily, I never crossed the finish line when it came to actually buying one of these companies, which is lucky. I see that now. And so never bought a business, and just kind of fell apart from there because we never.
That was a 3-year like investment of time.
Mm-hmm. It was a huge time investment. Yeah.
How were you supporting yourself? Were you working full time at that time or no?
Interesting enough, so it was a lot of like credit cards and like savings, and I worked part time. Do you know the people who give food samples at Walmart?
Yeah,
that was me. Yeah,
that was you.
That was me. I'd
work like a piece of salami, sir.
10, 20 hours a week. It was actually decent work. People are mostly nice, and I didn't make much. I think I made $11, $12 an hour, but that was me at Walmart, giving out samples. I would do that on like the weekends or evenings just to support myself so I can, launch that home healthcare venture.
It says a lot about your personality, because you persevered, you had a dream, you had a vision, you followed through with it. And even if it didn't work, you dusted yourself off, you picked yourself up like a big boy, and you went on to the next venture. So venture 1 failed. Venture 2 was a major fail after 3 years. Time sucked the whole 9 yards. Exactly. At what point then did you get into this real estate investing business?
So it was shortly thereafter. So after I was trying to do my own home healthcare, I figured let's just work for a home healthcare company. I was an administrator for a home healthcare company for a while. It's like, let me learn the ins and outs. Because I ran out of money too. That was a part of it. I just couldn't keep going. So did that, made that transition. So it was more of like a corporate job, more of a 9 to 5 is the typical hours. So made that transition. But there was starting to be this more like nagging desire to get back into real estate. Like the biggest reason I didn't want to get into it because it was something like the family had done for a while, and I just want to blaze my own path. And part of my intentions with doing my own thing with wood flooring and healthcare was like, I just want to blaze my own path, prove everyone wrong. But there was always this intention or like this, I guess, passion you could call it for real estate. Like I always wanted to get back into it. So made that transition, started out with wholesaling and then switched over to flipping. So for my first wholesale deal, made about $3,000. For my second wholesale deal, made about $3,500, and then decided like, okay, everyone I'm selling this deals to, they're making 20, 30, 40K. Let me switch to flipping and make my life a ton easier. And it's, the rest has been scaling and growing from there.
All right, so this is good. So I want to give some value to the listeners that are in the new phase, in the starting phase, because even though you're 2 years in, you're still really in the starting out phase. You're relatively new. Mm-hmm. So tell us give them some word of advice. How did you go about finding your wholesale deals in the beginning? What did that look like?
So I did a lot of cold calling, and I had a lot of success with cold calling. So reaching out to people, pretty straightforward. So you choose the market is your first step. Second step is to buy a list. I had a lot of success with like absentee owner list or tax delinquent lists, vacant lists, had a lot of success there. Basically, the third step is to get it skip traced, which is a process of you have a home address and you have a name. Now you have to have their contact information, pull up their contact information in terms of like phone numbers and actually being able to reach them. Then I'd start calling them, start calling them with a dialing system. I really like Mojo. Mojo Dialer is who I've used, and I've had a lot of success with them. And that was the process. And it's a numbers game with all, within real estate and within cold calling. So getting a lot of no's, getting to a yes, and that's how I got started.
Yeah. And I would share with that I could see you're an engineer, you're very process oriented. I can see that you're like number 1 and number 2 and number 3. And I see the way you are. So you have a process for everything, it seems. Like you're a process oriented individual. So when you were doing the cold calling, specifically those niche lists, how did you go about finding the niche lists? Was there software that you utilized? Did you self-generate those lists? What did that look like?
For the lists, I was just using ListSource. So I had a lot of success with that. Just buying a list from them. It's a couple cents per record, just bought a list and did it that way.
Simple, straightforward, easy. So now let's talk to the audience because listen, cold calling is a bitch. I did it when I started. I door knocked when I started. There's a lot of freaking no's before you get to a yes. And that plays on a person's personality. If they can't handle rejection, like you got to put your big boy pants on and start stomping around because you're going to get a lot of no's and a lot of doors shut in your face. Mm-hmm. What are your stats in regards to roundabout, if you know them, and I'm sure you do because you're an engineer, how many phone calls does it take to make a contact? How many contacts does it take to get an application, how many appointments does it take to get an actual deal, a contract in hand?
Yeah, so I'm happy to talk about those numbers. So I was using the Mojo system. Basically, it's like a 3-line dialer system. So it's making phone calls for you. So you just sit there with a headset or some sort of like headphones in there and you wait for it to pick up. So the numbers of like records to contact, I'm not sure of that. I know in terms of conversations, it was typically like 5, no, I don't want to sell a property to get to 1, yes, I'm interested in selling my property. So it's typically, 5 no's to get a yes. And the yes is, yes, I want to sell. And then from there, it would take typically like 15 on average, 15, yes, I want to sell my property, to yes, I want to sell at the price that you are willing to pay for it.
Yeah.
And then those deals would make it to the finish line. So it was definitely a numbers game. So that was the numbers, but typically like 1 in 15 offers became a deal.
And that's, it's key, whether you're starting out, you're growing, or you're scaling, you have to start knowing what your numbers are. And I give you kudos to you, bro, because when we first started in the business years back, when I started my mortgage company, I wasn't dialed in. We were making a ton of money, but I didn't know my key performance indicators early on. So when you're a young guy, young girl starting off in this business, and you want to do anything, whether it's cold calling, direct mail, Google pay-per-click, it all comes down to knowing what your key performance indicators are. So you can figure out, should I ramp up my marketing, slow down my marketing, or do I have to increase my sales aptitude? Do I have to take a sales course because I'm getting the appointments? These seem like quality appointments, but I'm not closing them on the back end. And so there's going to be indicators that tell you what you need to do with your business, either on the marketing side or on the sales side, to get yourself to the next level.
Exactly. So that's what I found out. And that's what helped me power through, because it is hard when you're getting no's and like, oh, is it going to be the next one that's another no? Or am I ever going to get a yes? So it's hard to power through and keep persevering. I had a mentor who was really helpful in that. And he broke it down like this. So like, let's say you do a flip and you're going to make 30,000, like you're going to net 30,000. That's your average. And it takes 15 offers to get there. Well, whether they say yes or no, you're basically getting paid, 30,000 divided by 15. You're basically getting paid 2,000 per offer. So even if they say no, you can say, okay, thank you, no problem, appreciate it, thanks for taking the time, and you can walk away with that mental check of 2,000. So suddenly, when it becomes that sort of mathematical equation, it's suddenly like how many offers and how quickly are going to go through those offers. If I'm going to pay you $2,000 per offer, I'm going to be on the phone all day.
That's smart that you say that, bro, because that's the mindset thing. And if you can get that in your head and know that every no equals one step opportunity, one step closer, that's a $2,000 no I just got. That's a $4,000. Like that equals up, bro. I appreciate that. That's a good piece of information that you just shared with the listeners. So what other, besides cold calling, what other marketing methods did you deploy in order to start driving in deals?
I've had a lot of success working with wholesalers. So about half my deals I get from wholesalers, about half I get on my own. So working with wholesalers has been really fantastic. I think the biggest thing, and maybe my approach is unique. I have more of a friendly, trying to build a relationship with the wholesaler. So it's not like me trying to beat them up on price or me trying to get every dollar or, trying to beat them up and get the best price. Like I am pretty transparent. So I say like, hey, I buy based on this 70% rule. So this is what I got for ARV. This is what I got for repairs. Here's the exact scope of work. Here's the exact, repairs that I think need to be done to this place. And then based on that, here's my offer. So I'm not like trying to negotiate them, not trying to lowball them. I'm just 100% transparent. Like, hey, this is how I'm getting this number. This is what I can do. If it's a fit, awesome. If it's not a fit, you can find another buyer. But I've had a lot of success. Like last year I bought 6 or 7 deals off of one wholesaler because we like working together. Another wholesaler bought 2 or 3. So they're coming back, and every time they have a deal, I'm at the top of their list because I am, it's more of like a friendly transaction. It's not like business. Hey, I want to get the best price because I want to make the biggest profit.
Yeah. And it is, it's relationship, but it's all numbers driven. If the numbers don't work, you're not gonna be able to make a deal.
Exactly.
Numbers don't work. The numbers don't make sense. It's fast, move on to the next one. So that's good that you're doing that. Now, are you focusing more on the flipping side or the wholesale side in your business right now?
So yeah, that's a good question. So I'm more focused on the fix and flips now. Gotten away from wholesaling. I honestly just enjoy the flipping a lot more. Have a lot more success with it. It's a lot more fun. I can keep on listing reasons, but I just like the flipping. So I haven't done a wholesale deal I only did 2 wholesale deals when I started. My first one made
Wow.
3,000, second one made 3.5, and I haven't looked back to wholesaling since then.
All right, so good. So now I want to let's share some knowledge. You started off with money or no money when you got into this business?
No money. Yeah.
No money.
I had
So
the
you
2
did
failed businesses, remember?
Yeah, 2 failed businesses, right, in quick college. Mom is like, yo, you better make something of yourself there, Victor. So you're out there now. How did you go about getting funds to do these deals, the rehab deals, when you had no money? What did that look like?
Yeah. So when I got started, when I made the transition to flipping, I had low 500 credit score and I had maybe a couple thousand to my name. Again, I had those failed businesses and I was living off credit cards. So I tanked my credit. So basically how I got started, and this is, basically what I teach as well nowadays. So if as soon as you get a good deal, like the money takes care of itself. Like if it's a home run deal, the money's going to be easier. And for your first deal, especially in my situation, you can find a money partner. So someone who has money sitting in the bank and they want to put it to use, it's making 0.001% interest. And with your deal, they can make, 20, 30, 40,000 if you guys split the profit. So I recommend, finding that money partner, someone who's willing to put in the deal, go in with you. You guys can split the profit, or you can get creative with what that looks like. But that's really how I got started. And a lot of people are surprised if they, look at their network, like who has the funds. I think a lot of people are surprised if you put together a list of 50 people, talk to everyone in the list, you'd find your money pretty quickly.
And so you didn't start these people off with an interest expense as a private lender. You did it as a joint venture?
That's how, I set it up for my first one. It was a profit split. So they got a portion of the profit. I got a portion of the profit. It's how I got started. I got those bigger checks going and then started to transition and do my own deals.
All right. So tell the listeners, how are you going about, young guy, 26, you're really a solopreneur. Mm-hmm. Are you managing the projects yourself? Do you have a project manager? What does that look like?
So good question. So when I started out, it was me actually doing the physical work. Like I would help out as much as possible, like demo, get all this stuff out, paint.
Wait a second. Oh, wait a second. You were going into the houses and doing the fucking work?
As much as I could, yeah.
Uh-huh. You sick bastard. I would never do that. That is crazy.
Exactly. Now that's how I look at it, because I could have spent my time elsewhere, focused elsewhere. But
yeah, you could have hired a demo guy, like demo the house, for Christ's sake.
Yeah. Well, you live and you learn, basically.
Yeah, for sure.
You start out doing.
You're not doing demo anymore, I take it then, right?
No, I've gotten away from that. It's exhausting. That's what I found out. Like it's hard to run the business, do the paperwork, find deals, and do the work, because it's exhausting. I would work maybe on a property 4 hours, and after that I'd be done. Work on a property 8 hours. I can't call anybody. I'm exhausted. I can't be doing that stuff.
So you are now elevated to project manager, or do you have a project manager running your deals for you?
So I've slowly transitioned. So now I have a project manager. I'm starting to get her hired up. Hasn't been long, only been a couple months, but it's gotten to that point where getting that volume, it makes sense for me to offload that, and it just makes my life a ton easier. And that's the other thing I've realized as I've handed off a lot of these tasks, going back to the first example, like me handing off the painting or me handing off the flooring, there's definitely an ego check that happens once you hand off those smaller tasks. You realize pretty quickly, you see your work that you did. Obviously, I'm not a painter or flooring guy, and you see the work that they did, and you're like, oh, this is worlds of difference. Like the quality is there when you hire it out. So I recommend to make that switch as fast as possible, just to keep that quality. And it's pretty humbling to look at your work and you're like, oh, this isn't nice. This doesn't look that good.
And that's a good point. But I mean, even on top of that, even if you were the absolute best carpenter or the best painter or the best framer, if you want to run and scale a business, it's really not best of your time to do those tasks that you could outsource and have somebody that is more qualified, but that's not at the same pay scale as you. Mm-hmm. Your time as a young, so listen, the listeners, if you're starting, if you're growing, if you're scaling, depending on where you're at in those 3 chunks, you have got to spend your time on the things that are going to generate the most amount of money. In the beginning, when you first started, when I first started, when everybody first starts, you're going to wear a million different hats. You're going to have 100 different things you have to do, and you're going to do things that you don't want to do. And those are that you don't want to do because it's not worth your time, but they need to get done. Those are the things when you're starting out that you need to very quickly identify, chart it out, and then write up a friggin' checklist and say, okay, this is who I'm going to hire out, create a process for it, like really write down the process, create a video, and then hire out an assistant to start handling the important time-consuming BS that needs to get done, but that you should not be doing. Once you offload that one piece, right, Victor, then you go on, you start then generating either more deals. And then once you get to the point you have too many deals coming in, then you might hire a lead manager to handle the calls so you could then be the closer. And as it's all this whole scale. I just love starting, growing, and scaling because I've gone through this gamut like 4 times in my life. And it's the same process. No matter what the business is, it's the same exact process. You start out, you're doing it all. You draft up some procedures, you hire an assistant. It's just, I love young guys that are doing it. So where are you at now with your business? What does it look like?
I appreciate it. Yeah. So we did 20 flips last year. The goal for this year is 30 flips, 30 fix and flips. I'm going through that start and grow phase, just like yourself. So I'm hiring out project manager, hiring out an assistant, just getting more folks on the team to help me, just to get away from the day-to-day. So that's really been helpful.
Yeah. And so where do you want to see yourself grow to in the next 5 years? Where do you see that looking like?
I just want to do, I really want to focus on 2 things, flip houses and teach people how to flip houses. And then for the flipping houses, just want to do, more deals, bigger deals, better deals. So just do more of the same. I really enjoy it. And that's a blessing in and of itself, where sometimes previous businesses and previous jobs I didn't enjoy. But this is fun, and it's really cool to see that entire transformation process. So within 5 years, I'd love to be hitting, 100 flips a year consistently. Just keeping it on task and just doing a good job.
Are you looking to build a rental portfolio as well?
I've done the rentals. I really don't like the landlording as much. I've tried a lot of it. I never like the phone calls like, hey, I'm going to be late this month, or hey, get this thing fixed. Obviously, back then I was managing it myself, so that might have been part of the problem. But right now, the focus isn't rentals. I am definitely keeping that on the plate, on the back burner for the future. But right now, I just want to, focus on flips.
So listen, I hear what you're saying, and you're 26, and those chunks of cash are really hard to go by where you're making $30,000, $50,000, $60,000 a deal. It's like, man, this is great. But you're 26, and if I can impart any knowledge to you at all, any experience to you, Vic, it's that you want to set your business up to where you're not going to be in this widget creating every friggin' month I have to start over and do a deal and do a rehab. I would highly say to you, I would highly recommend that for every 2 or 3 rehabs that you do, you plug some of that cash into an asset that you could get depreciation, you can get that cash flow, and by all means, sub out the management of it. Don't do it yourself because your time is going to be well spent doing something else. But listen, you're 26. If you start doing 100 flips a year, you're going to have a mammoth tax burden on your shoulders. If you augment that with some rentals and you put some of this money into your rental piece, the depreciation, the bonus depreciation, it's all going to even out. You're going to pay less tax because of your rental portfolio than if you did by just investing in flips. And I'm living proof. I had no choice when I started doing this but to flip because I was $14 million in debt. And I'm like, I needed to get myself out of my situation. So I got stuck in the mindset the first many years of fix and flip wholesale for the chunks of cash. And I was pissed at myself because I wish that I would have started with the mentality of investing for the future. So just whatever you decide to do with it, brother, it's on you. But I think if you pick the brains of many people who have many years experience ahead of you at 26, focus on the cash flow, focus on those appreciating assets.
That's really good advice. I appreciate that for sure.
Yeah. What is there anything in your business right now that you're struggling with? Something that maybe you're having a hard time with that you need some advice on? Something that you're like, man, I wish I knew this, or I'm trying to get this going and it's not working. Anything that you want to ask me that I can maybe help you with?
Oh, interesting question. I'm pretty good on the deal side. We've got a lot of deals coming up. We're selling the deals. Well, that's a good question. Yeah.
You can think about it. I'm here for you if you need to pick my brain about anything.
I appreciate that. Yeah, everything's going good. Just trying to do a little bit more and just learning as I'm going. Let's talk about this, I guess, at a higher level. Like, how do you think about hiring people? Like, what do you look for? What are red flags? What do you look for in a person when hiring a position?
So first you have to identify what position you're looking to bring the person in for. And there are personality profile tests that will tell you, based on the person that you're looking to bring in, if they have the personality traits right for that position. Now, that's not going to give you the end all be all. Is this person right? It's just going to give you an indicator. But I look for people first and foremost who have good values. Like, they have to be a quality individual. And I also look for people that aren't job hopping. If I see that they have a ton of job hops, not good. I have a pretty unique process, the way in which we drive people into my funnel. So with everything that we do in business, it's all about systems and driving in either leads or private money. And in this case, we're talking about hiring people. So we just went through this about 3 weeks ago. We wanted to hire 2 additional lead managers in our business. We have 2 now. We wanted 2 more. And so every position that I'm going to fill, I write a very unique ad for that position, whether it's a bookkeeper, an executive assistant, an acquisitions manager, a rehab manager, or even my lead managers, whatever it is, the ad is going to be completely different from everything that you see on the job post. Indeed, Monster, my ad, our ad is going to like jump out at them, because it's not an ad that's dictating to them, here's the position, here's what your responsibilities are, here's what you need to be accountable for, this is your pay. Like, it's this spitting. We don't do that. We actually write our ads almost like direct response in the copy, where we speak to the person. We actually write it as we speak. This is the type, it's always lifetime opportunity of, sales opportunity of the lifetime, executive assistant opportunity of a lifetime, lead manager, appointment setter opportunity of a lifetime. That's the headline. Like, what the hell is this? And then in the body, I simply talk to them about the individual that we're looking to hire. Who is the perfect individual? What are their qualities? What is their mindset like? What do they have to be efficient at and effective at? Who should not apply? And then what I have them do, Vic, is I have right in the beginning, I want to make sure that they're going to be reading and following directions. So certain people, a bookkeeper, pay attention to detail, executive assistant, detail oriented, can they follow directions? An appointment setter, do they have the qualities to follow directions? So I have them go through these ads, and people think I'm crazy when I write them, because I'll post them on Facebook and I have my friends text me and say, dude, that's the most ridiculous ad I've ever seen. But what they don't know behind the scenes is that my ads pull 600 to 800% better than any other ad out there. This last ad we put out for appointment setters, which is really a lead manager, we got 8, I thought it was 650. My executive assistant told me we got 800 applicants in 2 weeks. From the 800 applicants, only 75 followed our directions. So we had them self-sort themselves. We had them self-dilute. What that means is they have to, when they read the ad, they have to call it, they have to read it, respond in an email. In the subject line, I want them to put Billy or whoever's hiring them, Nick, this is the, I'm perfect for the appointment setter position. Here's why. So that's the first test. They read the ad and follow directions, put that in the subject line. In the body, I tell them I want them to write me and explain to me why we should consider hiring them for the position. That's the second piece. The third step is they're going to attach their resume. So right there off the bat, if they just do an autoresponder back with their resume, they're not even going to get looked at. Like, they're self-sorting. Once they do all 3 of these things and they respond, the last piece of this, there's 2 other pieces actually. They have to call an 800 number, leave a message on the phone as to, and it's have a recording. It's asking them, tell me in your words why you think you're perfect for the position. They have to then tell me on the 800 number why they're perfect for the position. If they stutter, if they have a horrible voice, if they're not going to represent the right way, I'm not going to bother, my team isn't going to bother calling them back from the interview. And then the final step, the 4th step, is they go through what I said to you earlier, is they take a personality profile test. If they do all 5 of those steps and they get through, and at the end, those personality profile tests, the person did the other 4 steps, and like we have 75 people who did it, but only 25 matched the personality profile that we're looking to do, the executive assistant will take those 25, they'll put them on an interview with whatever department head. And then from there, we go through, we have a whole process for interviewing, whole entire, interview process for getting into their head, getting into what their abilities are, what their past performance was. We go through that. We have a rating system. After we take them through the rating system, we'll sit down as a company, depending on who's getting hired. If it's a lower line level individual, I don't get involved. If it's a higher level individual, I'm definitely involved. From there, we do background checks. We do checks with past people that they previously worked with. And then usually like the cream rises to the top. So this example that we just had, 800 applicants, 75 came in, 25 interview. We had 5 of the absolute best candidates that we got to the bottom line. And we don't know which of the 5 to hire, because all 5 of them are like solid. But do you see that process, Vic? It's like you're taking them through so many different hoops, because listen, in business, it's about systems, but it's really about people. If you don't have the right people in the right seats, and you don't have quality that is going to help take you to the next level, that believes in your vision, that's going to work their ass off, that are B plus A minus A players, If it's not them, you got to get rid of those people quick.
Mm-hmm.
And not even allow them to come into your business in the beginning. People are always going to drip in. They sometimes you make wrong hires, but you have to identify who those people are. And the process we have with hiring, Vic, is like by far, I think it's killer. It's a killer process.
Mm-hmm. I like that funnel mentality. Like, hey, 800 applicants, and then next step, next step, next step, and it's so defined. That's fantastic. Versus like, hey, I need to hire someone. Let's get this person hired. So that's really good. That's really helpful. Just that funnel, and it's no hard feelings if it's not a good fit. It's just find the right fit and then move on.
It's the same with marketing. It's the same with everything. You have to have a funnel, a well-defined. You being an engineer, you're going to love it. A well-defined process flow that takes people through the steps, and really you want them to self-weed. I want people to just weed themselves out. I don't want to go through, my team doesn't want to go through 800 respondents. Like, how do you even look to figure out who you should call in for an interview? It's overwhelming. It's actually not needed.
Mm-hmm.
Let them self-dispose,
Mm-hmm.
And but if they can't follow directions and put their best step forward when they're looking to get a job, how are they going to actually be when they're on the job?
Yeah, no, that's a good point as well. Awesome. That's really helpful.
Good. I'm glad I was able to share a little value with you, brother. Listen, is there anything that you want to, any final words, any final things you want to say to the audience?
Yeah, for sure. So another thing I want to talk about when it comes to like doing deals and finding deals is like I'm a huge proponent of follow-up. So it's pretty rare for me to, on the first interaction with someone on a deal, to get the deal. Like the first time you call someone, it's likely they're not going to agree on your price, or they're not going to accept your offer. This is for like the deal acquisition, deal getting aspect of it. So I'm a huge proponent of follow-up, and I've had a lot of success because of the follow-up. And I went back and looked at all my deals, and on average, it took about 10 touches for the deal to actually happen. And a touch is maybe a phone call with the person, a text with the person, email, voicemail, maybe you saw them in person. So it took on average 10 touches over, typically a couple months or a month or two for me to get the deal. And I think a lot of people miss that, especially as they're getting started. They say, hey, they said no on the first go round, so it's not going to happen. But I'm of the opposite. It's not a no, it's a not yet. So I always, get them eventually to that yes. And I don't do it in a negative or a badgering or a pestering way. I do it in like a nice, friendly, kind way. So if they don't want me to ever call them again, I won't call them again. But if I think there's some potential for a deal, I just keep following up.
I keep calling them, and my team keeps calling until they tell me they're going to stab me in the neck with a pen. And I'm like, all right, maybe we'll stop pulling this person out. So let me ask you, is your follow-up process, is it well-defined and automated in a CRM, or is it you just saying, hey, I know that I'm going to have to do my follow-ups? What does it look like?
So I do use a CRM. So it's kind of half defined, half systemized, half shooting from the hip. But I just use a CRM. I just use HubSpot. Especially at my lead flow and like amount of leads I get. I don't have to go with a paid system or like an automatic system. Just HubSpot's for free, and it's just manually, because I typically get maybe like a couple leads a day max. So don't need something sophisticated for that. So just based on the level where I'm at, I don't need something crazy and something expensive. So but I just keep track of the follow-ups in there, and try to touch them every week or every other week, and just try to keep on top of them that way.
I got to tell you, and it's good that you're doing that right in the beginning, because a lot of guys don't do it at all. When you get to that next level, Victor, from start to really growth, and you get with a system that could do all this heavy lifting for you in the back end, where it's doing your predefined process for texting and for emailing and for phone calling and for voicemail blasts and for direct mail, it is going to make the world of difference in your business. But like you said, you don't need to invest in a CRM right now. It's going to cost you money because there's no need for it. You're doing a few deals a day. You can handle that. But when you're getting your employees in, when you're starting to scale this business, you're definitely going to want it because it just, the automation part is life-changing. It will revolutionize the way your business operates, and it will bring in more deals, more money, and the investment of a few bucks a month for the software is going to pay off, in a heartbeat.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Well, I'm looking forward to that point.
Yeah, brother. Well, listen, man, it has been an honor to have you on. Young Vic, 26, out there crushing it, Gainesville. Where can people find you online, Victor?
Well, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me. I am on Facebook. Luckily, I have a pretty unique name. So if you look up Viktor Jiracek, Viktor on Facebook, and you search me, I'm there. Feel free to shoot me a message. I have a free Facebook group if you want to join that as well. But I'm here to help and here to add value. So If you have any questions, flipping related, real estate related, anything, I'm here to help. But Facebook is the best way to get a hold of me.
Appreciate that, brother. And everybody that's listening, if you want any of the tools and tips that we speak about that are on the podcast that I use, that my team uses, go to billysecrets.com. Most definitely. Follow us on Facebook. Follow us on Instagram, The Unstoppable BA. Subscribe to our podcast, Unstoppable REI Wealth, and make sure you go to YouTube and follow us there as well. We're dropping knowledge, dropping bombs. We're bringing on people who are starting, people who are growing, people who are scaling, and they are dropping value, giving stuff back, and just making everybody a better investor, a better person, and making them more profitable. Victor, I really appreciate you coming on today, brother.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Absolutely. Take care, bro.
Thank you so much for listening to today's episode of Unstoppable Real Estate Investing Wealth. My mission is to give you, my listeners, the blueprint for success, the insider secrets for starting, growing, and scaling your real estate investing business so you can experience and live the unstoppable lifestyle. I've made it simple for you. To catapult yourself to success, go to billyssecrets.com. That's BILLYS secrets.com. There you will find every single tool, tip, trick, strategy, system, and secret used to make millions of dollars as a real estate investor. Everything my team uses and my guests use all in one place for you to tap into so you can start, grow, and scale your real estate investing business. I really hope you implement what you're learning. I hope you utilize these tools, tips, tricks, strategies, and secrets. And I hope to see you on the next episode. God bless. Bye-bye.